Welcome to the Board Game Network. This is James. I'm going to be explaining how to play this game called Zooloretto, put out by Z-Man Games. It plays 2 to 5 players. You are in charge of a zoo, and you are, of course, concerned about its profitability. So what you want to do, your goal is to fill up your pens with animals, but you don't want to fill them too full because that lowers your profitability. You want to add kiosks and you want to expand your zoo. So to start off, you start with, here's all the different species of animals here. Okay, you have 8 species of animal in Zooloretto, and mine also includes lions, which makes it a 9th species. But the rules haven't been adjusted for the 9th species. So they say take out this many species, but they added one. So here's the way this works. When you have 2 players, you're playing with 5 species. 3 players is 6, 4 players is 7, and 5 players is 8 species. So you're just going to remove all of the species you're not going to use and all of the offspring for that species. You have delivery trucks. These are your trucks that deliver your animals to your zoo. And they can hold one of these squares on there. And for 2 players, you're going to have 3 trucks out. For any other number of players, you've got 1 truck per player out. You have a zoo board here. And you get an expansion, but that expansion is face down. Here's face up with the squares. Face down. And if you're playing 2 players, you've got 2 expansions face down. The first player is the person who can best imitate the lion's roar. And then you just start, and here's your options for what you can do. You can take this pile. These are all squares. You've got the circles face up. You've got the coins face up. You get 2 coins at the beginning. All the rest of your squares are face down, including all of these, except for the ones you've removed. And you take one of these squares and you flip it face up, and then you put it on a truck. And you can put it on any truck that has an open space. That's one option. A second option for what you can do is you can take a truck to your zoo and unload it. And you can only take a truck that has at least 1 item on it. So let's put a few items out here. The truck does not have to be full. You can say, I'm going to take this truck. And you can put the line in any empty square, but you can only put 1 species in each enclosure. But a species can be in more than 1 enclosure, that's okay. Coins, these coin squares, they work just identical to coins, so they're interchangeable. So if you take that you could replace it with a coin if you wanted to. And once you've taken a truck and you've unloaded the truck, your round is over. So other people may be playing, they may be still putting squares out on their trucks, they may be doing other options, and they continue, and you just wait until everybody has taken a truck and then the round ends. If there are no available spaces to put something, then that item goes in the barn. So that would be any animal or any kiosk would go into the barn, and that's negative. It's bad for your profitability to put things in the barn because it still costs you money to provide for it, but the people don't get to see it. And then the third option you can do is a money action. And a money action is one of these things. For 1 coin, you can rearrange your zoo. You can take an animal out of the barn and put it onto a space for 1 coin. You can take a kiosk and move it to a different space. So a kiosk is one of these things, the brown things. So you could have a kiosk in a barn. You could pay a coin and move it out here. Or you could move a kiosk from one kiosk space to another kiosk space for 1 coin. But the only movement you can do with an animal for 1 coin is to go from the barn to an empty space. A second option is to exchange 2 animal species. And that costs 1 coin. So you pick 2 locations and you swap completely all of the animals from 2 different species. So all the lions, and they must be 2 different species. It can't be an empty space. So if I had monkeys here and lions here, I could swap like that. Or if I had monkeys in the barn, along with other things, let's just throw a few things down here. And I could swap the camels for the lion. Something like that. So everything of 1 species into 2 different locations. You can purchase for 2 coins. You're purchasing 1 token from somebody else. So any of the items in their barn are available for you to purchase. And you do that by paying 2 coins. You give 1 coin to the bank and 1 coin to the person you're buying the animal from, or the square from. You could purchase a kiosk also. And then you take it and you place it into your zoo. So it helps you, but it also helps them because it reduces their overflow of animals, unless they had some plans for that. Or you can expand, which costs 3, and it shows you right here 3, and you flip that over, and then you have more space to put more animals. This is a 5 space. You'll notice these aren't all the same. This one's 5 spaces, this one's 4 spaces, and this one's 6 spaces. Once everybody has taken a truck, you go into the next round. And whoever took the last truck becomes the first player of the new round. If you'll notice, some of these have male and female symbols on them. If you put the same species with a male and a female in the same enclosure, then they spawn a child. So, and it happens immediately, and it has to be in an enclosure. It can't be in a truck, and it can't be in the barn. And if the enclosure is full and this happens, that baby would go into the barn. And it only happens once, but you can actually get, each species has 2 different males and 2 different females that are fertile. So if you ended up putting all of the 2 different couples in the same enclosure, you could get 2 offspring from the same enclosure, as long as you got both of the male and both of the female in the same enclosure. But adding a 3rd fertile one doesn't create another child, or the same pair doesn't reproduce twice. Once you fill up an enclosure, you get the number of coins listed here. So this one gives you 1 coin, this one gives you 2 coins, this one gives you a coin, and this one with 6 doesn't have a coin at all for that one. And you cannot do that by exchanging. So if you move animals from one to another and it fills an enclosure, you do not get the coins for that. But you can actually get coins more than 1 time for an enclosure by filling it up more than once. So you could do an exchange where you don't have the enclosure full and then add to it and then get the coins, and then you could exchange it with another one and have it not full again and then fill it up again. So it can happen. Once all of these tiles are gone, then you start drawing from, and there's 15 tiles here that have been picked out at the beginning of the game. They're just randomly picked face down, you don't know what they are, and you put this red token on top. And so once all of these are gone, then you start drawing from here, and that signals the last round. So the last round, when you continue the last round, so all of the trucks still get taken and you still progress through that round. Now the final game scoring happens, and you look at, there's 2 numbers in each enclosure. If you have that enclosure completely full, you get the bigger number. If you're missing 1 square, you get the lower number. If you're missing 2 or more squares, you don't get anything unless there's a kiosk in that space. If there's a kiosk in that space, you get 1 point for every animal in that enclosure. So in this case, with 3 kangaroos, you'd get 3 points. But if the kiosk was not there, you would get 0 for that. You get 2 points for every kiosk type you have on the board and in the kiosk spaces. So they've got different pictures. You get 2 points per type, and you get -2 points per kiosk type in the barn. You get -2 points for every animal type in the barn. So if you've got 2 lions in the barn, that's only -2. So in this case, I've got 2 lions and a monkey, so that'd be -4 at the end game scoring. So you just total up your points there, and that's how you score the game. Coins are not worth anything. In the 2-player game, when the second truck is taken, you discard any tiles off the 3rd truck. And on your setup for the 3-player game, you're actually starting with 1 truck that's got, you just use the tiles that have been taken out from species that you're not using. And you actually start like this for 2 players, where 1 truck has one space that you can't use and another truck has 2 spaces you can't use. And that's set up at the beginning of the game, and those always stay on there the whole time. So they never get taken off. That's how you play the game Zooloretto. Make sure you tune into all of the videos here at the Board Game Network.